Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 12 of our F222 Teo Porcher career mode. Yes, this weekend we're back at the Dutch Grand Prix, of course. If you missed out on last week's action from Belgium, I would highly recommend going back and checking out, of course, the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. It delivered two pretty crazy races, of course, in this series. But yeah, we're back today though, ready for the Dutch GP. 28-point lead over Felipe Drugovich in the championship. 6 races to go, 3 rounds to go left of this campaign. We're just slowly now starting to get into the groove, starting to potentially build up a bit of a gap, but Zandvoort can be quite chaotic, so we'll wait and see what happens. Right, well here we are then, qualifying day for the Dutch Grand Prix, and of course Zandvoort, you'd certainly need your fair share of downforce around this venue. It is quite a strong track for the AI, so we'll wait and see as to what we can do here on our qualifying run. Of course, took pole last weekend at Spa-Francorchamps, but a very different circuit to the one here in the Netherlands. There's certainly one quite high ride height as well, of course, to get through that very bumpy banked final corner. But yeah, as well, of course, if you're new around here, make sure you get yourself subscribed for more Formula 1 related content as we head into the new year. But let's do this thing then, a sweat mode lap of Zandvoort. Through the final couple of turns then. It's been a pretty competitive lap time as we head through the bank final turn. Shortest run up towards the line. It's going to be very close to myself and Jack Doohan, but it is only P2 then. At the end of qualifying here at Zandvoort, Jack Doohan takes another 2 points out of the battle at the front. Well, there we go then. Jack Doohan pole by just half a tenth of a second there ahead of ourselves. Yuma Iwasa in at P3, but far more importantly than that, where has Felipe Drugovich ended up? He's down in P19. Drugovich has had an absolute nightmare. He's been so consistent in qualifying throughout the entirety of this campaign there, but it might be that lap that defines the World Championship here in FIA Formula 2. We have, however, got to try and keep it on the island in the sprint and the feature. Of course, we've also got the Constructors' Championship to worry about. A 26-point lead over MP Motorsport there as well, but Felipe Drugovich has fallen at the first hurdle here at Zandvoort. Can we try and take big points out of him in the sprint?
Welcome along to Zandvoort for another fascinating Formula 2 race today. Four lefts and 10 rights make up the 14 corners of the narrow and demanding Zandvoort circuit, with plenty of peaks and valleys over the course of the 2.6-mile lap, which will demand absolute concentration from our drivers here today. As we await the start of another hugely anticipated Formula 2 race, I'm joined again by Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as a former GP2 champion, can we get some insight to what is running through these young drivers' heads as they sit out on the grid?
Ciao Alex, it's a pleasure to be here. There are nervy moments, there is no doubts about that. Mental strength is the key to remaining calm and focusing on the upcoming race. Formula 2 is so competitive and all of these drivers knows that they are going to be pushing each other all of the way. In this sport, you have to be able to control your nerves.
Right, well here we are then, trackside for the Dutch GP sprint race today, and 13 laps ahead of us. Of course, all of them should be done on the hard compounded tyres. No threat of rain. However, there is a slim chance we might see some tomorrow here. But really now, it is just a case of trying to pull out points over Drugovich in the championship. We come into this weekend with a 26-point lead, but we could leave here with, 30, 40, maybe even a 50-point lead if things go our way. This is a pivotal turning point in this championship. Heat then into the tyres, ready on the grid for the Dutch Grand Prix, starting from P9. Of course, top 8 score points in this sprint race as we try and get the car lined up nice and tidy. Don't want to go too aggressive in towards someone. There is purple score on the lineup. Just waiting on those cars at the rear of the field there. Pretty certain it's Ollie Caldwell who rounds out our grid here today. But let's do this thing then. Sprint race time from the Dutch Grand Prix. 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go there. And look at that for a launch immediately. Putting alongside of Yuma Owasa as we head down in towards turn 1. Richard Verschoor, of course, home GP for him, a little bit lost on the run through turn 1. So you know what, we'll try and get around the outside of him as well there. Trying to get the power down off the exit of the first turn, but round the outside we'll go. And 2 places gained at the start of this GP. And it might even be one more there as round the outside of Jan Laruvula through the bank turn 3. I really do hope on F123 they fix the line there. So much cooler in real life when the drivers, of course, go around the high side of that corner. But yeah, Daruvula hangs on to P6 for now. They're able to put the power down on the inside of that turn. But Jurjevic leads the way as we snake our way into Sector 2 on this opening lap. But the dreams start for ourselves. They're up 2 places immediately. I mean, Felipe Drugovich looks like he's made forward progress as well. I think he's got past the other Prima car of Dennis Hauger on this opening lap. But look at that as well, of course, Fred Vesti carried along by a good qualifying session yesterday. He could really come in handy here if we want to try and pull out a bit of safety over ART. But of course we've also got to be careful. UNI Virtuosi, they have been very, very quietly strong. And unlike MP Motorsport and ART, where we've just had myself and Drugovich scoring the lion's share of the points, Sato and Jack Doohan have both been doing pretty well throughout a lot of this season there as we round through the final corner of the opening lap. Jurjevic already trying to break free at the front. I'm pretty certain it's a high-tech 1-2 as Marcus Armstrong follows him back down towards turn 1. But we're up 2 places immediately into 7th here. Can we try and get past Jan Aruvula for 6th? A little bit of a lock-up in towards the final corners as we come to the end of lap 2. You really want to try and avoid that outside curbing there. No, I binned it there in an F2 league race before in LCR. F1 League Racing, of course, returning now over on my second channel. If you're interested, make sure you go check it out. Oh, Jan Aruvula, big lock up there down at turn 1. And we were just left with nowhere to go in that first corner there. As yeah, Aruvula somehow does that and gets away with it and actually gains a bit of an advantage over myself as well. That was Richard Verschoor trying to look around the outside through the next turn there. Couldn't quite make it happen. The young Dutchman, but of course desperate and try and put on a good show for his home crowd. Of course, I'm sure I'll have a lot of support behind him this weekend, but yeah, we've got to now try and close back up to Daruvula. As you can see, the likes of Sato starting to break free, but the high-techs at the front, they are in another league early on. As Daruvula again hanging the car over that curbing through the final corner. You can see how badly it compromises his run at the final turn. Jurjevic's another new fastest lap of the day, but are we going to get close enough to Daruvula? There's more battles going on up the road. As Fred Vesti, our teammate, losing 1 place. We're going to try and gain 1 to counteract that. There is Logan Sargent now up into the podium places, side by side with Daruvula off of turn 1 as we head in towards turn 2 and 3. They're still side by side. We'll try and incorporate the high line through the next corner there. Daruvula will be able to get in front, and can we try and get a run though as we push up the hill? You don't often see moves in towards the next couple of turns, but we might just be able to do something here to the inside of Daruvula. He's actually going to jump out of the way. Daruvula there, and sometimes that goes to show, if you feel the mirrors of the car in front, they can sometimes just back out of it. And now we're into 6th. Sio seems to be under increasing pressure from Marino Sato just behind him there. As you can see, the gap that Logan Sargent has been able to pull out pretty much immediately. Sargent 22.3. We go even faster there. That must have been hundredths of a second in it between myself and Sargent as we head back down in towards turn 1 there. But yeah, Fred Vesti definitely struggling. The same can be said, I think, for Jan Daruvula there, who was absolutely falling away behind us. But of course, this is quite critical constructors-wise. UNI Virtuosi, they could still be an incredibly big threat by the end of the year there. They're only about 35 points back as we head into the Dutch GP. But of course, it has all been about MP Motorsport and ART this season, but they've just been quietly, you know, notching up those podiums. Jack Doohan's been on an absolute tear as well. Of course, we'll start pole in the feature race tomorrow. We have got to be careful and hope that Fred Vesti as well can pull his finger out. But if we can jump a UNI Virtuosi car, that'll be quite handy. Oh, getting really, really sketchy over that inside curb in there, but Sato does the same on the outside curb, and there you can just see not a good run for the UNI Virtuosi car as we go side by side back down towards turn 1 there. He's got a bit more straight line speed, courtesy of the slipstream from Fred Vesti there, but so confident on the brakes in this car at the moment there. We are now up into P5 of this GP, and not a lot that Sato could do. Hopefully Fred Vesti will just let me by, but of course if you remember back to the Hungarian GP just a couple of weekends ago, he was actually one of the drivers that put up the biggest fight. Right, let's wait and see then what Fred Vesti can do. We're already halfway through this sprint race here from Zandvoort. You can see we've got the DRS on our teammates, still able to get close to 190 miles an hour in towards turn 1, and honestly that really does surprise me in the F2 cars. It's just again going a tiny bit faster there to try and lock in that fastest lap bonus point as well. Fred Vesti this time round will probably live to fight another day. We'll try and hook it up around the outside, fill his mirrors, but nothing is going to come from it. Maybe Marcus Armstrong then hasn't, looked after his tyres particularly well there, as that was overzealous on the throttle to say the least. Logan Sargent now trying to move up to P2 of this GP there. There is a tiny bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between the Carlin and the high-tech car there, as they're going to give each other racing room on the exit of the corner there. Armstrong with a big squeeze as we head in towards the final turn there, and a big wobble as well, as look at the run we'll get round the outside of Fred Vesti there. Armstrong still struggling, and we're going to have to go down the middle, through the middle between Armstrong and Fred Vesti there, and up into P3 of the GP. That has got to be one of the scariest double overtakes I've done in F2 22 there. Clement Novalak out of the Grand Prix as well there. I wondered if for a second that Felipe Drugovic's bad weekend was going to get any worse, but we absolutely took the gamble. 5 laps to go of this sprint race here. Now we might be able to move past Logan Sargent as well, but Yuri Vips has just absolutely walked away with this one. 4 seconds clear after just 9 laps in equal machinery. There is the stricken MP Motorsport car. Clement Novalak pulled off on the inside of the final couple of turns there. He has been well and truly mecha-chromed, but yeah, the tyres now, I mean, they're not bad, but they're certainly starting to allow a little bit more slip. Is Yuri Vips another new fast lap of the day? Are we going to be able to get past Sargent though? Another fastest lap of the day for us as Sargent defensive on the run in towards turn 1 there, and he's actually going to lock up, run very, very wide up towards me, and he's still there alongside us on the exit of the corner. He will slot back in though just behind as we go very, very brave through turn 2 there as we head through the banking. Sargent's still trying to find something, but we're now up into P2 of this race there, but surely now that's going to be all we can really get. Yuri Vips so far up the road, we're going to need a miracle if we want to win this, but 9th to 2nd in an F2 sprint race around a track like Zandvoort, that is nothing to scoff at. Around in the final corner then to start the last lap here from Zandvoort, and the gap to Yuri Vips has come down slightly, but no argument against it. He has absolutely been the class of the field today. Got the pole, of course, by virtue of the reverse grid top 10, and really, never looked back. Was under a bit of pressure from Armstrong early on, but I think his New Zealand teammate just took way too much out of his tyres early on in the GP. Armstrong has really dropped right back down into the midfield clutches there. I think he's now behind both UNI Virtuosi cars, which doesn't do us any favours either, so cheers for that, Marcus. But yeah, Yuri Vips, he's going to walk away with another sprint race victory. I think that's his second, might be his third victory of this campaign as well. But for us, it's going to be another podium. Seem to be racking them up like they're going out of style at the moment, but we will absolutely take it. Consistency is key to an F2 championship, and of course, Felipe Drugovic found that out in real life 2022, but hopefully we're just taking the necessary steps, getting closer and closer to finding it out ourselves. Another driver who's been very quick, Logan Sargent, towards the end of this race. Whilst we've been taking time out of Yuri Vips, Sargent has been able to stick to the back of me like a bit of an annoyance there, so he's kept us honest through these final few laps. Round in the final couple of turns then, it's going to be P2 from P9 on the grid here in the Zandvoort sprint race. That sets us up nicely for the GP tomorrow and gives us an even bigger points lead.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Here's our winner, pulling their High-Tech GP into Parc Fermé then. What a fantastic race. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
The difference was in the strategy. Credit to the driver for sure, but races like this really drive home how much of a team sport this is. They did a lot of work on the pit wall to really make the most of each stint and to make the best use of these tires. And that said, all of that would have been for nothing without a talented hand on the wheel.
And it's time now for the podium celebrations, and how well deserved is this one. What a fantastic victory for High-Tech GP. And now, let's take a look at the driver's stand. Théo Pourchaire can celebrate tonight as his championship lead is extended even further. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
Difficult call, but I'd like to say Théo Pourchaire. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of the tires, and he showed that today.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Teams Championship. ART have extended their lead over the championship. Meanwhile, High-Tech GP's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Well, there we go then, the end of the F2 sprint race here from Zandvoort. Is Juri Vips taking home the dub, 3.8 seconds clear of ourselves, Théo Pourchaire there. But fastest lap bonus point means we walk away with a 9-point tally there. Logan Sargent, though, like I said, kept us honest right to the checkered flag there ahead of Fred Vesti. Jay Anderovala, a good recovery from him to finish where he started ahead of Sato, Doohan and Marcus Armstrong there. Yeah, I'm sure a bit gutted the way the tyres fell off quite early in that GP. Iwasa Vachon ran out the top 10, so no points for the Trident homeboy. Yeah, Felipe Drogovic, P17, they're a nightmare for him, and of course he'll start from P19 as well in the GP tomorrow. But it does mean championship-wise, Théo Pourchaire now a 37-point lead at the top of the table. Drogovic still 50 points clear of Jack Doohan, so it's unlikely that that gap will be overhauled, but you never quite know what might happen in the world of FIA Formula 2 there. Daruvala rejumps, Jem Bollock, Bassi Sargent rejumps, Vachon as well, as Juri Vips gets past Iwasa. Fred Vesti finally with more points there, jumps Liam Lawson and Clement Novalak, and that means constructors-wise, still 4 points. MP Motorsport, the gap to them over UNI Virtuosi, 40 points now down on ourselves, or at High-Tech, the only team to make progress there as they jump Charouz. But plenty still to battle for as we head in towards the final few races of this campaign. Like I said, changeable conditions are predicted tomorrow as well. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we will return tomorrow ready with the feature race. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.